Since the time of Plato, philosophers have dreamed of one impossible ideal, a ruler who was not corrupted by power, but guided by wisdom. Centuries later, that dream took human form. His name was Marcus Aurelius, the man history remembers as the philosopher king. Hook, the weight of destiny. He was not born into luxury or arrogance. He was born into expectation. From the moment Marcus entered the world, destiny seemed to whisper his name. But destiny, as he would learn, does not give gifts without testing the soul that receives them. Body. The formation of a mind. Marcus lost his father when he was just 3 years old. Raised by his grandfathers, he grew up surrounded by both wealth and discipline. But while most noble children were taught to chase glory, Marcus was taught to chase truth. Even as a boy, he stood apart. While others played with swords, he studied philosophy. He slept on the ground to toughen himself, wore plain clothes to humble his ego, and practiced restraint in a palace built for indulgence. The Emperor Hadrian, seeing something rare in the boy, began to mentor him from afar. And when Marcus was just a teenager, Hadrian made a fateful decision: to groom him for the throne. By the age of 17, Marcus was chosen. His path was no longer his own. Hadrian's successor, Antoninus Pius, officially adopted Marcus, setting in motion the rise of a ruler who would redefine power itself. But Marcus did not celebrate. He grieved. He did not want crowns. He wanted clarity. He would rather be a philosopher than an emperor. Yet he accepted, because true strength often comes not from desire, but from duty. The burden of leadership. When Marcus finally ascended the throne, the empire was collapsing under invisible enemies. Plague, war, betrayal, famine, every shadow of history gathered under his reign. The Antonine Plague tore through the world, killing millions. Soldiers fell, cities burned, and Rome, the heart of civilization, began to tremble. In that chaos, most rulers would have fled. But Marcus stayed. He walked the infected streets, spoke to the fearful, and reminded them not through speeches but by his presence that courage was contagious. When Rome's treasury was empty, he refused to tax the poor or steal from the provinces. Instead, he ordered the imperial palace to sell its gold, jewels, and treasures in the marketplace. When a senator asked why, he replied, "We are so far from owning anything of our own. Even the house we live in belongs to the people." That was Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled with calm amid catastrophe. His philosophy was not written for others. It was lived, tested, and proven in fire. The philosopher within the emperor. During the long nights of war, in cold tents and candlelight, Marcus would write to himself, not to the world, but to his own soul. Those writings would later become the immortal book Meditations. They were not sermons. They were reminders, small notes from a tired emperor to the philosopher within him. "Waste no more time talking about what a good man should be," he wrote. "Be one." His practice was simple. Every morning he reviewed his thoughts. Every night, his actions. He called them epithets for the self: upright, modest, steady, cooperative, disinterested. He was not seeking perfection. He was seeking peace, the kind that comes only when the mind rules the man, not the other way around. Facing death and finding grace. As his body weakened with illness and years of war, Marcus began to meditate deeply on mortality. Death, to him, was not an enemy, but a reminder. "You could leave life right now," he wrote. "Let that determine what you do and say and think." He had watched the plague steal countless lives. He had buried his children. He had fought wars he never wanted. Yet he remained calm, anchored by philosophy, grounded in service. Even in his final days on the battlefield near modern-day Vienna, he was not afraid. When his soldiers wept for him, Marcus said gently, "Why do you weep for me? Think instead about the common law of nature. that all must pass. Then, one evening in March of 180 AD, at the age of 58, Marcus Aurelius covered his head, closed his eyes, and slipped quietly into history, leaving behind not a dynasty but a philosophy that would outlive every empire. Legacy, the true measure of power. Rome would never see another ruler like him. He proved that the greatest strength is not the power to command others, but the power to command oneself. His life reminds us that leadership begins within, that calmness is not weakness, but control. That philosophy is not retreat, it's resistance against chaos. Marcus Aurelius didn't just rule an empire, he ruled his own mind, and in doing so, he became timeless. CTA, final words. If this story moved you, remember, wisdom is not ancient. It's alive in you right now. So waste no more time talking about what greatness looks like. Be it. Tell me in the comments, which teaching from Marcus Aurelius do you live by? And before you go, subscribe to the channel for more timeless philosophy that strengthens your mind and spirit.